Hello everyone, this is Vashishta. Today I'm going to explain about the income elasticity of the poverty line. Coming to the introduction, this is a paper that I have taken from internet, which is written by Robert W. Kilpatrick. So coming to the introduction of this, the comparisons of extent of poverty at different times are greatly affected by whether the dividing line between the poor and the rest of the population changes as the average income grows over time. And if so, that we degree one, the absolute income standard and the relative income standard are polar hypothesis about the income elasticity of the poverty line. Under an absolute standard of poverty, the poverty line is constant. In terms of what people thought of thought of as poverty a century ago, the absolute standard implies that today almost no one is poor in the United States. Under a relative standard of poverty, the poverty line changes in the same proportion as average income if the relative income distribution is constant. The relative standard implies that if the shape of the income distribution is the same today as century ago, the poverty problem is known numberless to probably more like then. Time series analysis of Gallup poll result. The effect of rising average income of poverty line as seen by American society could be estimated directly if public opinion polls for many years and asked people where they would place the poverty line. The average answer in any year would define the poverty line for the year in terms of average judgment by society. The elasticity of the poverty line with respect to income could be estimated from the time series of these answers together with the time series of an average income. An elasticity of zero would be consistent with the absolute income standard. An elasticity of an 1 would be consistent with the relative income standard. And an elasticity between 0 and 1 would be consistent with both absolute and relative conditions having any effect. So that the poverty line would grow with average income but less than the same proportion. On the assumption that the elasticity are similar and the elasticity of the poverty line with respect to average income was estimated by regression. On the assumption that the elasticities are similar, the elasticity of a poverty line with respect to average income was estimated by regressing the Gal- Gallup poll opinion on the average income of a nation. Both the Gallup poll results and the average income series were converted to constant dollar by the deflator that for consumption expenditures. The Gallup poll question was asked 22 times, 3 times during 1937 to 1942. When the question was worded differently than later, and asked how much was needed to live decently and comfortably. The review of economic and statistics. A description of a data source for this paper and a copy of the data are unavailable on request from the author. During 1957 to 1971, the period uses the final regression. The average Gallup poll opinion ranged from $72 per week. In the year 1957 to 27, dollar per week, $62.22 per year in 1971. Introducing average family size as a second independent variable might be expected to increase the extent to which average income reflects the living standards of a Gallup poll respondent. However, the coefficient for average family size was never significant. Income elasticity of the poverty line. Coming to our main topic, the results for the first period on 1937 to 1954 can be illustrated by the coefficient of income gives the estimated effect. The coefficient is not significantly different from a zero. Either the equation in any of other three equations with the dummy variables. Indeed, the highest statistic is to match 0.23. The absence of significant relationship between the Gallup poll results and the average income is consistent with an absolute standard of poverty prevailing during the period. However, this finding is not reliable. The questions in the earlier years about decency and comfort may be interpreted by respondents as defying a higher living standard than was implied by the subsequent question about getting along. So this is the table regarding regression of Gallup results on average income and estimates of elasticity. Here the income concept is measured form of equation, constant term, independent variable with pole estimation with elasticity is given. When it is measured, it is linear so that the per capita disposable income is varied from 34.3 to 0.0025. And for the median family income, the measured with the linear equation gives us 38.0 to 0.00717 of family income. Supplementary evidence. The support with the time series analysis of Gallup poll results gives the hypothesis about the poverty line may be supplemented by two types of related data. One is a set of cross section from public opinion polls. The income elasticity of a poverty line or any other living standard may be revealed to some extent by comparing the average opinion of people in different income classes at the same time. Roper polls in 1938 and 1967 split respondents into two groups and found the prosperous or upper economic status. Group believed that more income was needed to live on. The Gallup poll taken in 1964 and 1969 provide more detailed evidence by dividing the respondents into five income classes. Linear and double log regression imply an elasticity of Gallup poll result with respect to income of about 0.10 to 0.15. In most equations, the elasticity was significantly differ from 0 to 5. The regression estimates are not reliable. However, the top income brackets affect the equation individually because the average income of a bracket is extremely high compared to average income of other brackets, partly as well. The estimated elasticity are similar in the 2 years, although the pattern among income classes differ markedly. In 1964, the Gallup result rose steadily from $73 per week to $0.09, steadily from $99 to the $7.099 bracket, and that stayed at $99 in the bracket of $10,000, and over 1967 the poll result rose only $4 within the bottom brackets and then increased from 102 to 126 in the top bracket. In all cases except for one tie, the Gallup result did rise from one income bracket to next. However, in no case did the pool result rise to by large percentage as the average income rose, and in only one out of 8 cases did the poll result rise even off the fast. Like the regressions, the pattern implied within cross section. The review of economics and statistics. All the points estimated from these equations are between 0 and 1. The confidence in interval tend to support the hypothesis that the elasticity is positive. But for the most part, they do not support the hypothesis that the elasticity is smaller than 1. Less weight should be placed on these results than on the Gallup poll. The budget studies at the opinion of observers professionally concerned with the subject, rather than the view of society as a whole. Moreover, the data are necessarily weak for any series now put together has to be based on studies by various persons in the past. Coming to the conclusion, the evidence in this paper is very strong that the poverty line does not rise with the average income. The evidence in weaker than the increase in the poverty line is less than in proportion to the increase in average income. But the evidence is support of this later hypothesis is nevertheless quite strong. Except for the regional cross sections, all the points estimated of the elasticity are less than 1. And the best evidence, the time series regressions of the Gallup poll result for 1957 to 1971 does support this hypothesis with substantial statistical significance. Conclusion from the particular year study should be applied courteously in the other time. Nevertheless, at least for recent years, the income elasticity of a poverty line would seem to be much better estimated as about 0.6 than as 0 or 1. Thus, growth in income reduces the proportion of the population in poverty. So this is all my explanation. Thank you.